lands supposedly laying waste or not being used productively, as in some of the language used to justify using Paget or Tinian for that matter. It is time to reimagine just what such patriotic and loyal Americans like Agata Johnston would have to say. Just what would the ambivalent Agata Johnston of the immediate post-war period do today, who, as the historical record from the beginning shows, nevertheless remained a constant, good Chamorro woman, wife, mother, and protectress of Chamorro values, even if she renegotiated the terms of engagement in the language and culture of modern America. Would the choice of American patriotism hold up in the wake of such development in Guam's and the world's history in the face of what the historian Chalmers Johnson has called ominously and sadly America's empire of bases that has done less for America's security than it has for a new military industrial elite class of interconnected interests? When proponents invoke the language of the military's special relationship to the Chamorro people to justify opening up our arms once again the way the war-torn Manamco once did, how will we understand the terms of that new engagement?
Are there any questions? Dave, did you have any questions submitted?
Not yet, but we will in a minute.
Thank you, Tina. That was wonderful. Was it Thompson? Is there a publication that you got where she was studying the education on Guam at the time?
Well, her ethnography, she was contracted by the Navy. That study was contracted by the Navy, or she was contracted by the Navy to conduct that study. But some of the other material that I was working came from her, that was the archival research that I had done looking through Laura Thompson's papers.
Are they available online or through Ann Arbor or?
It's in Maryland with the Smithsonian Anthropological Archives.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Okay, we do have a question for you, and that is, how have Agata Johnston's daughters responded to your analysis of her narrative?
I've only had initial conversations with her daughters or granddaughters?
Her daughters.
Okay, so Agata's, I've been in contact with Marianne Johnston, who I understand is in the hospital at the moment. And I've also been I've also spoken a lot with Linda Taitano Regis. And these are just ideas that I've only really just sort of thrown out with Linda. And she hasn't really had, in fact, I invited her to come out here, and this is where I found out that her mother wasn't doing so well. So I haven't really gotten a lot of feedback with her yet, because I was just sort of brainstorming about these ideas. And then just recently have been looking at her unpublished work, so I haven't had a chance to go back to talk to Linda about that. But I was hoping she'd be here to give me her thoughts on that. Thank you, that's a good question.
This is a little bit more complex, so...
All right, I'll brace myself.
Two-part question.
Two parts.
You discuss patriotism, particularly that by Chamorro women to the U.S., both pre and immediately post-World War II. In your research, have you come across stories or information about Chamorro women who were not patriotic at the time, yet held teaching or patera positions?
Well, that's a good question, and that's certainly something I would be interested in. Okay, I think I know who asked that question. And I haven't seen anyone articulate a very staunch opposition to America just yet. With Agatha Johnston material, obviously I'm getting a sense of ambivalence and then being angry. But other women, no. But I wouldn't dismiss that. Here's where Agatha Johnston, we all know her as being this staunch patriot, right, at Patriot. And that's something that gets institutionalized, like at the national park, right? But, so it depends, first of all, on how you would understand patriotism. Because here's a good example of one who actually identifies as American patriotic by choice. But yet, there's something else going on here, as we begin to see in our unpublished writings. But no, I haven't seen this real warrior kind of woman yet. Well, I'm looking this way as if I know who's asking that question, but it could be over here. So, yeah, we should exchange email and see if we ever find anything, kind of let each other know what's going on.
I think the question was referring to perhaps other women other than...
Yes, of course. I did hear that question. And again, I have not come across anyone who's...
And this is the last question. Doesn't it seem apparent that Agatha would do the same thing today as she did back then, that she would coordinate patriotism?
Does it seem evident that she would do that? I don't think so. I mean, this is just my read. I certainly think it would make her stop in her tracks. I mean, we're living in unprecedented times. So, I don't believe so. Yeah.
Well, we thank you very much again. It's been really a delight to have you here and to listen to your talk this evening. Dr. Helen Whitby would like to present to you on behalf of the University of Guam a small remembrance.
Thank you very much.
And again, Dr. Underwood did ask that we especially apologize to you that he was not able to be here tonight.
Yes, he likes to give these out. Please accept on behalf of the University of Guam the symbol of the university and culture. And thank you very much.
Beautiful. Thank you.
So not to push Dr. DeLisle out of the way, but again, thank you all for attending this evening's presentation. We will remind you that the 10th presentation is coming up, I believe, on November 10th. You can look out for that. And again, the Guam Humanities Council has provided a reception in the lobby. We invite you all to join. And again, thank you to them for this collaborative effort. Good night.